Publisher groups are greedy, right? They are ruining board games. They're cashing in on this cash cow that is out there. Are they, though? Or are they just responding to what we keep paying them for? We say we want innovation, tighter design, and affordability, but we reward excess, FOMO, and more stuff. Good value. So who's really shaping the market? Who's the monster here? Crowdfunding didn't make games expensive. We did, right? If you didn't pay this out, if every $200 plus deluxe edition of a game that was put on the market didn't fund, well, it wouldn't tell publishers that people are willing, people are able, people are desiring to spend that much in the first place. Consumer willingness provides market validation in this way. Publishers follow behaviors, not necessarily ideals, which is why we have seen them shift with the rise of crowdfunding, both on a small side of things as well as a much larger aspect. Games that were previously never going to be made now are made routinely with the backing and the shouldering of the load from, well, not companies, but us. The market isn't being manipulated. They are optimizing it. And that may suck to hear, but where your wallet goes, the trends follow. Games that sold because of spectacle over substance, Dark Souls, oversized boxes, stretch goals that change very little in dynamic gameplay, and, that do not extravagantly expound on the difference of gameplay, but market more on the visually extravagant side. I mean, things like, say, Castles of Burgundy, for example, is a prime example of this, if nothing else that you can think of off the top of your head, because I guarantee you can think of several others. Also, FOMO marketing, right? It works because we're complicit with it. There is a significant psychology in overbuying, limited runs, right? We've gotten away from the exclusives. Very few campaigns run GameFound, Kickstarter, BackerKit exclusives, but limited run, not widely available at retail. Exclusive miniatures versus standees versus cardboard chits. The pre-order pressure are responses to buyers' behavior, not necessarily direct causes. Correlation, not causation. Ever seen that? If it's not deluxe, though, it's not good enough. It's not quality enough to be fitting on my table as a board game snob. The community's obsession with overproduction has redefined what is considered normal now. Almost every crowdfunding game campaign, that's the normal. When I do my crowdfunding roundup, that is just almost ubiquitously across every significant campaign. We have turned it into collecting content. Shelf presence, unboxings, I think are one of the biggest banes on our hobby. Component photos. You know what I'm talking about. I was just looking through a couple upcoming crowdfunding campaigns with people getting paid to take pictures of the components themselves, and they are blown up so big and altered so much digitally in the coloring that you don't have a clue what's going on with the gameplay mechanics. There's a reason why GameFound tells potential campaigns to cover the first 3/4 of their page with components, because they don't want you looking at the gameplay. GameFound doesn't, Kickstarter doesn't, and more importantly, it's turning out that the publishers are realizing that you don't care in the first place either, so that's why they can put it at the bottom of the page, because you are not, as the consumer, caring. You're voting with your wallet. Engagement in this way has proven to be more important than gameplay. They design all of this accordingly, and they're getting endorsements from the crowdfunding websites to do so. And it's shifted significantly from game design to product design, if you stay with that trend that I just mentioned. We are overvaluing, overfunding significantly underdeveloped games when they come to crowdfunding in the first place. They're designed for value perception and potential rather than for what they are or what they will be based on what is there. How many times have you not had a finished rule book during a campaign? How many times do campaigns say, to be determined, to be figured out, we're going to add stuff later, finalized when the pledge manager, blah, blah, blah. You've seen it. If your campaign is not ready to go, you should not be funding. If you don't have a rule book, you shouldn't be throwing your money at this. You don't do it on the retail side of things especially, or if you do, again, that's where you have people picking up these huge, massive piles of post-convention pick games where they're buying it off the hype. They're buying it lack of, potential knowledge, more sight unseen, and even sometimes sight unseen rather than this is what I'm actually going to like. Bigger boxes and components upgrades have signaled better value rather than the better mechanics. And deluxification has definitely changed the priorities in that way because now we've seen more time spending on designing of the inserts, which ultimately often leave us wanting in the first place because otherwise the secondary market on things like Etsy as well as separate companies and individual people doing inserts wouldn't be there, in the first place. Rather, also, with the combination of figurines, because that's what they are, little figurines, rather than playtesting and rule book editing. How many games have you gotten that you read the rule book and you go, I can clearly tell that this was only playtested in-house? Because once you get it to someone who doesn't actually know or have seen a how to play video, because again, how to play videos should not need to exist. They should not need to exist. They can because some of us learn better that way, but it should never be a necessity. And that just goes to show they're spending and they have figured out a business model where they can pay how to play. They can play, Rodney from Watch It Played or one of these other significant creators money in that way rather than actually put out a product in the form of you should be able to play this just straight from the box. We are also getting the incentive on the designer and publisher side of things to upsell the experience and not to provide the system in the same way. The graphical upgrades, the AI integration from a GameFound situation, they are not right now currently, really incentivized to get rid of the AI because they know the artwork that you love and that they have gotten millions and millions and millions of dollars on is designed in that way. So why would they change things if you're not going to change your buying patterns? More beautiful games, essentially. The Too Lazy didn't watch this part of the video is that more beautiful games that are fine to good, but rarely great because of these approaches. Every purchase that you make reinforces this pattern. We buy, publishers upscale, prices rise, we complain, and we back it again. I want simple euros. Oh, look, the deluxe reprint with minis. Why is this $180 for a game that's essentially the same? Oh, I'm still backing it though, because I love it. We have trained the industry as consumers that success equals visual excess. But accountability goes both ways. Publishers have a role in this to also help us out because, again, this is why I have such a problem on the gambling side of things with the World Series of board games, for example, because manipulation and betting and addiction goes hand in hand with all of these things. The manipulative stretch goals, which we have seen much less of, not very good transparency. Stellaris, I'm looking at you. Inflated fake MSRP values of what it might be at retail when it never comes out to that in the first place. The use of MSRP in general on crowdfunding is a joke. But again, I understand some of it because they're businesses and not charities, and they respond to incentivized approaches. Consumers drive these trends more than they realize, more than we realize. Because if you stopped backing these $250 boxes, it would collapse. This model would cease to exist. And yet it's not. We're in the golden age of board gaming and still crowdfunding. And I'll make that argument. But if you want better games, you still have to vote with your wallets. You have to support design-first publishers, one who come with product ready, ones who give us products within the year. I'm looking at Yomi 2. I'm looking at Onward from Skytier Games, who have done that. Reprints who focus on the gameplay and that you can't do it any other model, like Nemesis Games and Uprising Curse of the Last Emperor, over the gilded tokens and the deluxifications that make you feel like your aesthetic excess is being met. So we have created this market. The question is, at this point, will we ever stop feeding it? And you know what? Let me be very clear about this last portion of things. I'm not saying don't back deluxe games. I'm not saying don't support crowdfunding or don't support these businesses or blame these businesses. That is not any portion of this video in that way. But it's saying know why you're backing them. Are you buying it to play them? Or are you buying it to own in excess? Do you think that we're truly the ones to blame? Where do you think the fault lies? Do you think it is on the publishers? And what would you do to fix this? How would you remedy this? Let me know. Peace out. Stay classy.